So hot off the press is this exhaust system from TORQIT. The 3.5 inch DPF back to the 2.8 1GD 79s. And I'm very lucky to be one of the first to get my hands on this kit. And in this video, I'm going to show you how easy the DIY install was on the ground at home. I knew my factory system had had a hard life. All those beach trips, the desert trip, the countless burns. So for me, this part of removing it, I was dreading. And I'm hoping a spray from this P26 lubricant from Penrite will help with getting all the old bolts and nuts off. So my plan was to start at the rear and work my way forwards towards the DPF. The factory system comes in 3 separate parts. Now it's about 2 AM, so the reason that I'm trying to do this stealth is just to keep the noise down for the neighbours, hence using the ring spanner and no ratchets as yet. I'm sure there was a heat shield on this when I fitted the airbag, just perished, leaving only the clamps in position. The shield's gone. Considering the condition the old system was in, it came apart pretty easily. I was surprised. There's always one. Now look, apart from using the grinder on that exhaust bolt, there's a couple of brackets in there that you also have to remove, but you discard them because you don't use those first 2 mounts anymore. So with the water tank on, I had to remove the rear tyre to get that last piece out, just to make clearance. That front piece that comes down off the DPF, geez, it was tight under there, so I had to undo the sway bar bolt. And then we had to remove and drop the rear of the front tail shaft. Save yourself some skin and take these parts out. You'll find then that that front piece does Tetris out of there. So with the old system out, we start by fitting up the first piece to the DPF and letting that drop down alongside the chassis. And then my next move was to sit in the rear piece to guide me as far as shapes and which pieces were going to be left. So because I'm one of the first to get this and they rushed it down to me to get it fitted, I didn't have clear instructions at this point, which the kits now include. Beautiful images here of the 304 stainless steel 3.5 inch exhaust system. Clearance to the cross member, clearance to the shock, clearance to the airbag. So this here is the bracket that comes in the kit that they've made up. It bolts onto this cross member here using 2 captive nuts. This mount here is the main reason why the prior 2 aren't used. So on that new bracket, you use the old bolts that you took off the old brackets, and the captive nut is on the chassis of the vehicle. So the trick when putting it all back together is just do up all the nuts and bolts, finger tight, get it all in position before you tighten anything up completely. So we started at the DPF and worked our way to the tailpipe, tightening up all the joins and mounts. First turn of the key. Now honestly, that was such an easy installation of this system, and it took about half the time that it did to remove the old one. So 100% a DIY kit. Now this particular system has a 10-year warranty, and that warranty is honoured even if you put this together on your garage floor at home. So since the install, we've done almost 1,000 kilometres. I've towed a 3.2 tonne around, and I couldn't be happier. So not only am I excited to have the exhaust on, it sounds better, it goes better, but potentially it may have fixed the auto gearback issue that we've all been having. For me, towing Bullet just now and not having the shutter where it gets stuck in the second gear and having to shift it, I mean, that didn't happen to me just now. So I'm even more excited. We've almost arrived. Short trip, 19 litres per 100, so it's around what it normally is. And this is the last roundabout here where we might be able to get that shutter. done it the whole way. In my eyes, that was a very successful test. I love it. I actually really like how it drives now, what it sounds like, and how it feels when it does the gearbox. So what I'll do now when I get home is I'll go through and make sure all the flange bolts are all nice and tight still. I'll check the one that goes to the back of the DPF, because they were fitted and then they gotten hot. We also stopped on the way back and checked. The exhaust gets hot, right? But it didn't transfer to the airbag. And we didn't have the scan tool on for that drive. But I really don't think that the temperatures are going to change, because the last probe is at the DPF and we've changed from the DPF backwards, making it legal, but I don't think it's going to affect the computer at all in the readings. Look, unfortunately, you're not going to get a huge amount of difference in sound. So with the DPF, it's still going to keep it quiet. It is a little bit deeper, throatier, like you can just hear the whistle a bit more. 79, the grey one, when we put the system on that, it really opened up the sound of the V8. Second one, the white one, we did the system but kept the DPF in. Sound was considerably less than the grey one, but like this car, it's opened up a little bit of a deeper tone. So the first burn on the new exhaust, and one of our followers actually commented how good they sound when they are doing the burn. Unfortunately, we're on the M5, so the regeneration's probably going to finish before I get a chance to stop and film. And the reason we're on the M5 is because we're heading out to Oakdale to have a look at something for our Cape York trip. And I don't get sick of saying it, I love this car. And here is our new acquisition, a 1200mm APB canopy. So the full width of the tray, and it's 1 metre high, so specifically made for 79 series. And now the guy that I bought the canopy off was a fit, young, strong man, and the two of us struggled to pick this thing up off the ground, off his garage floor, and put it on the tray. So the drive home, all I could think about is how were Shell and I going to be manoeuvring this thing around until I fit it out for the trip. Turns out that APB are in Caringbah. So, you know, half an hour from home. Travelled all that way to get the canopy. We saved good money, which is awesome. But then we went over there and they had the jack-off legs for us. It turns out they're in the same street as Craig, who services our Tohatsu motor pre-Pebbly every year. And I had a bit of a chat to him. He said, I didn't see you last Christmas. But yeah, so we'll be heading back to Pebbly this year, so we'll head back and see Craig. Now the guys there at APB, legends, very helpful, and they were able to answer a few of the questions I had about the canopy. I also found out that the reason that the two of us struggled to lift it is the canopy on its own is 110 kilos. So he fitted this out with a false floor and carpet, and it all adds up. So after getting the legs off him, I stopped in a Bunnings and got some casters. Bit of proof here that I actually do have the ratchet spanners. Some of them comments we got when I was working there during the night, they were fun, thanks guys. So my idea was to take it off the ute, but then have it so that I can work on it until we leave. And I mean, what better way than to be able to maneuver it around on my own? The problem is, where do I store it? So I worked out for now that it can just sit in the garage in front of the A-frame of the motorbike trailer. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? It rolls away and hits the 300. Ooh. It looks like Bullet will be back soon, and I want to put that back in the garage. Adam did wonders with Bullet. Not only did he straighten the cage, but he got the windscreen back in. So thank you, Max. Your donation, very much appreciated. So he's still got to join the dots here on his cage. So I have to say, in all the time that I've had this car, this is the best fuel consumption figures I've ever had. So after I dropped the car off at Adams, so I zeroed the trip meter. I had a fair few kilometers to do, picking up the canopy and then going out and getting the legs. Quite a lot of driving around, and First time ever, we're under 10 litres per 100. So I feel the exhaust has made that difference. I've never seen numbers that low before. Mind you, we're empty, but still on 35s. Also too, the shirts have come in, so here they are. And as a size reference, this is a medium, and this, the large. So if you've ordered one, they'll be in the mail. I hope you enjoyed this one, and the next episode we're gonna have the last one of the series of the TJ's 24 hour. Find out who made it. And as always, thanks for watching.